Hello, everyone. Hello there. I am Joshua William Gelb, and welcome to Theater in Quarantine. It is Monday, October 19th, and it's 9 o'clock here in New York City. Thank you for bearing with us through some technical difficulties that we had earlier today, and we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. But truly, we're so happy that you could all join us here at The Late Show. It's always the best show. Tonight, we are so pleased to be presenting Notes from an Enumerator, or 1500 Rubles and a Revolver, which has been inspired by Anton Chekhov's notes and letters and his nonfiction account of traveling to the island of Sakhalin. It was created by me, Alex Falberg, Eric Berryman, Lydia Fine, Mikhail Fiksel, Katie Rose McLaughlin, Justin Nestor, and stage managed by Ada Zhang. Created in partnership with Theater Mitu's Expansion Works, we are so excited to be doing something that we have never done before. We are bringing in another performer in another closet. I'm still here in the East Village, but I'll be joined in performance by Eric Berryman, who is in his own closet that we built with Theater Mitu's help, out in Gowanus, Brooklyn. I cannot wait to share this milestone with you tonight. Now, it's been a little over 7 months since I converted this closet in my East Village apartment, measuring 4 feet wide by 8 feet tall and only 2 feet deep, into the white box digital performance laboratory that we call the Theater in Quarantine. With creative director Katie Rose McLaughlin, we've been expanding our roster of collaborators, as well as working with institutional supporters like Theater Mitu, Invisible Dog Art Center, La Mama Experimental Theater Club, and Culture Hub. Now, the performance tonight runs about 35 minutes, and afterwards I'll be hanging around with all of my fellow collaborators to discuss the process of making this show and all of the technical challenges that we experienced along the way. We'll also be here to answer any questions you might have, so make sure to drop them in the comments section. Now, below, in the description, you'll find a link for our Fractured Atlas page where you can make a donation. All donations go directly to tonight's collaborators, so please consider helping support this work and these artists who made this work possible. And we hope to continue bringing Theater in Quarantine to you for free, but theater, even on the smallest scale, isn't cheap. And as you can see, we're expanding. Well, so thank you for support on any level. Now, lastly, a reminder that what you are about to see is not Zoom theater. This isn't a dance film. This is live performance in this closet behind me and in another closet in Gowanus. So let's get started. I'm going to take a brief 1-minute break so that Eric and I can get into places. Eric, are you there? Are you ready? Okay. Thank you again, and enjoy Notes from an Enumerator, or 1500 Rubles and a Revolver.
Well, folks, the census is officially over. Were you counted?
Today on the show, a live report from an enumerator to give us some last words on the decennial census. Also up ahead, a glimpse at an entirely different census forgotten by the seas of time. One from 1890. Russia, on the brink of revolution. Anton Chekhov, the doctor turned short story writer turned playwright, embarks on an epic journey from Moscow to the island of Sakhalin, a Russian penal colony just north of Japan. His mission, to conduct a census of the island. Who were the forgotten ones who lived on that island? Who were the forgotten ones of today? This is As Then So Now, the show where we look at snapshots of history and the events of today. I'm your host, Sergeyevich Savorian. Every 10 years, census workers, enumerators, follow up with households to find out, among other things, how many people and how old. Except, a contentious battle between the executive and judiciary branches of government has now culminated in a fatal blow to the census from the Supreme Court. The official count is over. Joining us now is a man who's taken matters into his own hands. He's an actor, artist by night, enumerator by day. Barry Erickson, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Savorian. Big fan of the show. In the field right now. Hard to find a quiet spot. I only have a few minutes. I'll do my best.
Well, thank you for sharing a bit of your time. I understand that even though the census is over, you're defying orders and taking your own way to enumerate.
Yeah, that's right, Savorian. Look, if we're undercounted, this isn't a census anymore. If we're undercounted, that's not just constitutional. That's not constitutional. That's
Folks
not
listening at home, if you're joining us now, we got Barry Erickson on the line, rogue enumerator. Barry, like the 500,000 other temporary enumerators hired, you work in another field, specifically theater. Is that right?
That's
Can you
right.
tell us more about your theater work?
Well, what do you want to know? I'm not working on any Chekhov plays anytime soon. And God only knows if I ever set foot in a theater again.
Well, thank you for that, Barry. Can you tell us a bit about your day-to-day as a census enumerator?
Start early in the morning, make sure I have everything I need, a bag, pen, clipboard, mask, phone, and then I make my way. So sometimes I'll be doing 7th floor walk-ups, brownstones, other times big multi-unit buildings.
What about places like nursing homes, mental health facilities, jails, prisons? How do these get enumerated? Hello? Barry? Hey, Barry, can you hear me? I think we lost Barry. Wait, what was that, Barry? Oh boy, I think I lost you. Hello, Barry, can you hear me?
Barry, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, everybody. Hello, Barry.
Hello?
Barry. Folks, I think we lost Barry, so sit tight. I'm going to have a little musical interlude to get Barry back.
What? What did you say?
What did you say?
Never mind.
It's snowing, sir!
I can see that. Why is it so
Ah! 'Cause God wants it like this!
Dear sister, my driver occasionally grumbles something at me. I just nod. He seems to be a good-natured person, but he could perfectly well strangle me and take all of my money. There would be no witnesses. Why am I doing this? Why didn't I listen to you? My paper is running out. I meant to write to you from Tumen, but I hadn't the time. Writing to you now, jolting across the plains of Siberia. There will be bears, tigers, and creatures of all sorts who spend their time eating each other. In case a bear eats me, or if someone slits my throat, don't seek vengeance. I'll be somewhere up in the cosmos, dancing with our brother Nikolai, your brother Anton.
Travel addendum. April 1890. Inventory still apparently intact. Boots, jacket, knife, shuba, 1,500 rubles. Boots, jacket, knife, shuba, 1,500 rubles.
Boots, jacket, shuba, Knife, 1,500 rubles. And a revolver. Oh, cognac. Thank you, sweet sister. If I die, everything I own belongs to my sister.
Who?
If I die, please send everything I own to my sister.
What?
My dear sister, Marsh.
I don't remember anything after that.
Well, you fainted by that point.
Now, the actors couldn't save it. They...
Saved it. They were all drunk by the third act. And then the first audience member got up. He climbed up on stage and started hurling props at the actors. Another one climbed up and started pissing on the set. The stage manager had a heart attack. The last time I saw the lead actor, he was being put into handcuffs. The director's been missing for 3 days. And the review...
Anton.
The Wood Demon's many errors are due to the author's lack of effects and experience and knowledge. The play lacks effects, situations, or any interesting characters.
Is this why you want to escape?
Escape?
To that island?
I just need to leave the city. Maybe I'll finally get some good work done. Maybe I can even help a few unlucky souls along the way. I'm lonely, old, useless, and I'm 30. And I am never, and I mean never, setting foot in a theater again. I may have packed too much.
Why are you doing this? A prison colony at the end of the world. What if you don't come back?
My revolver is in the trunk.
Take this. It belonged to Nikolai.
I won't be long. 6 months. I take the train from Moscow to Yaroslav. From there to Perm by boat. Then to Tumen by train. To Irkutsk by carriage. Ferry across the Lake Baikal. Carriage to the Amur River. Float to the Pacific. And then
Dr. Anton Pavlovich Chekhov, welcome.
Travel note. Arrived safe on the island. Weather calm and clear. On the short ferry across, whales danced in pairs, spouting fountains in the air. The island itself is divided into 3 districts, each with prisons and settlements. The population is a mix of convicts, exiles, and their families. Children often accompanying their convicted parents to the island. Some are born here and know no life outside the island.
You must be tired. Have a seat, I insist.
I'm fine, Governor General Kononovich, just fine.
All the way from Moscow. Have you any kind of official authorization?
No.
Some sort of scientific society, some newspaper.
No. My aim is to conduct a study of the island's system of prisons through an informal census.
And what sort of questions will you be asking?
Name, age, birthplace, status.
Let me stop you right there. We're an open book, Chekhov. We don't flog, torture, or inflict undue harm on anyone. You'll see, all of the men, women, and children are well fed and receive exactly the care they deserve.
What was that?
Nothing. Oh. That filthy violinist didn't bother you on your way in, did he?
Violinist?
Madmen more like it. He has no violin. He just stands around, bowing the air. Oh, there he goes again. Dorvoshitsky! Get him out of here, I say. I don't want him scaring away our guest. It's a dreary story, Chekhov. Sooner or later, everyone goes mad or tries to escape. The convicts, the exiles, even the officers. Inspect anything you like. All the prisons, settlements, districts, our doors are open.
Thank you, sir.
There is one exception. You may have no contact of any sort with the political prisoners, as I have absolutely no authority to even consider changing my mind in order to permit this. Enjoy your stay. No, thank you. I've been flogged for the day.
My name is Anton Pavlovich. I'm here from Moscow. My aim is to take a census of the island. I'm inquiring your name, age, that sort of thing.
Why does the government want to resettle all of us?
I'm not from the government.
I thought it might be amnesty.
I'm a doctor and writer.
You're from Moscow.
Indeed.
My daughter's always wanted to go to Moscow.
Name?
Peter.
And hopefully you'll see it someday. Our father's name?
Hard to say. He was changing it all the time.
Surname?
Donov.
Age?
40. No, it could be
And,
39.
What is your birthplace?
No. I'm 39. Could you change it? Did you change it?
Yes. Birthplace.
Kiev. I grew up there. I lived below the concert hall near Kreshetki Park. I was first violinist in the city orchestra. My wife was the lead singer at the opera. That's how we met. Please, I can't get flogged today again. They always claim I'm lying. Did you change it?
We'll write in a range, somewhere between 39 and 40. How does that sound? Status?
They never tell me.
And how long have you been here?
A long time.
Are you literate? Do you
Every
read?
day. Tolstoy, out of all the writers today, he's no mere mortal. I read him every day. Well, I mean, not from books, from memory. There are no books here.
Have you any family?
It was my wife and I, and our 3 daughters. The deputy mayor loved attending the opera, but he was not there for the music. My wife refused his advances, and for that there was a cost.
A cost?
A violin. It was gifted to the deputy mayor's son. I tried to keep it. And for that there was another cost. My family and I were sent here. Just wait, they told us. A new life awaits. And so we waited.
Where are they now?
My daughters loved it when they told them stories. I was in charge of the stories and my wife in charge of the songs. Naturally, that's how we survived for as long as we did. She sung songs and I told stories, and well, our daughters just loved it. One day, my wife disappeared. We had no idea where she'd gone, if she'd been taken, and we waited and waited for answers, but none never came. And when we started running out of food, I started running out of stories. And I could see that this island has a way of eating your soul before it devours your body, and I wouldn't let that happen to my girls. So one day we walked out into the sea. I told them a tale of a charming sea breeze, a friendly sea wind that travels the world picking up friends along the way.
Dear sister, it feels as if it'll be 100 years before I'm home. It's been nearly a month since my arrival, and I've still got a long way to go. I get up every morning at 5 o'clock, and I'm already behind. When I go to bed at night, I see meteors flying in my cabin. They're not hallucinations. They are these luminous beetles that look like electric sparks. They light up and leave imprints of pictures in darkness. Sometimes I see a lone seagull flying across the cosmos. Sometimes I see Nikolai. He raises his hand as if to get my attention, and then he fades away. The cabin next door to mine is occupied by a traveling American. His boat capsized, so he has to wait for the next trading ship to take him back home. Last night he got drunk on Russian vodka and talked in his sleep all night. Here, sleep is everything. In Moscow, I never was tired as I understand the word now. Now I feel as though my mind isn't working well. It seems as though all at once time is both still and moving. I can't seem to put my thoughts together. The wind and the rain have changed my face when I look in the mirror. I don't recognize myself. Evening comes quickly after morning. The exiles I've met are cordial, friendly. So maybe my revolver is, after all, superfluous.
Sergeant Wojcicki at your service. Governor General asked me to check in.
Thought I heard a bear.
No, this island's been tamed. And as far as the convicts and exiles, they're meek as lambs. We are nothing more than a flock of sheep here. Cowardly, lazy, fuzzy little sheep. You can put that gun down. Are you all right, Doctor?
I'm fine. I was looking for the Stopinski district.
The Gileacs haven't bothered you, have they?
The Gileacs?
Claim they've been here 1,000 years before us. Don't even try talking to them. They can't speak our language. They're the real animals.
I can't say I've encountered anyone like that. How long have you been here on this island, Sergeant?
Long enough. Sent from Moscow. I was a little too rough with the university students, so...
Students?
Protest riots, Everyone always so upset these days.
Yeah.
God only knows what they want. These kids, these radicals, they don't even know what they want.
A note on schools. There are 5 one-room schoolhouses on the island. 222 children, an average of 44 students at each school. Schools are in poor condition, without basic resources like books or desks. When in session, schools' administrations are run by the exiles who also serve as teachers, none of whom who are trained or even in some cases literate. Literacy on the island, 29% of males, medical note, 9% of females. Amongst many convict populations, I have observed a hypothesis for the cause. Logs from 1/2 to 1 meter in diameter and 8 meters in length are carried by 3 workers in heavy clothes. There is this none of these are trained or even in some cases circulatory and pulmonary system accelerated activity. Hypothesis for the cause. Logs from 1/2 to 1 meter in diameter and 8 meters in length are carried by 3 workers 50 years. Logs from 1/2 to 1 meter in diameter and 8 meters in length are carried by 3 workers, assuming the weight of the log to be 350 to 500 kilograms on a snowy track in heavy clothes. There is an accelerated activity of the respiratory, circulatory, and pulmonary systems. August 20th, there is one. Each with prisons and settlements. The population is a mix of convicts, exiles, and their families. Children often accompany
on the
their
island are
convicted
not poor.
parents to the island. Some are born
Priest receives a handsome salary in each parish. There is a choir. There is one particular church, however, that does not resemble the others. It appears a group of exiles have formed their own makeshift church out of an old barrack.
Have a seat, have a seat. Come in, come in. Come all in to pray. I don't recognize you.
Oh, I'm not an officer. I'm here to conduct
Why?
a census. Well, there are some books written about this island by authors who've never even set foot here.
But why do you need to know? It's the Tsar looking for volunteers. Does he need cosmonauts to go to the moon in his stead?
Well, this isn't for the Tsar.
inside. A
Let me
mass
stop
of
you.
exiles stand
The
quietly.
service is beginning.
The central space seems to have been rearranged. A series of crates haphazardly stacked on top of one another form a lectern. I can't help but feel I'm not where I am supposed to be.
Silence. Let us begin. We should be afraid. Afraid of those who look for a tendency between the lines, and who believe in either the liberal or the conservative. We are not believers of what they call gradual change. They say we have never in human history possessed the kind of science and technology we have today. They say we are going through a period of greatness. But greatness for whom? This is why I have no tolerance for lying, no tolerance for butchers or scientists or writers. Our Holy of Holies is the most absolute freedom. Freedom from lying. Freedom from all forms it may take. An incompetent tyranny reigns. Flog us! And we can do no more. Strip our souls of dignity. And until all that's left is a great empty space, we shall fill that space. A nation that wants nothing and hopes for nothing and fears nothing cannot be a nation. I do not know how it will be for us in 10 or 20 years. But I do know that the ghost of Hamlet's father did not arrive for nothing. He had something to say!
What did he do?
He tried to escape.
Get that man a glass of water. Someone needs to get that man a glass of water. Dear sister, received word from mainland there is a cholera outbreak. Officers of Sakhalin expect the cholera to come to the island soon. If that happens, all vessels would need to remain in quarantine for many months, perhaps longer. Winter here would be unbearable. I am hoping there will be space on the soonest departing ship. I must get off this island. The account of this island must not disappear. I have already registered about 10,000 individuals. Yet, I have got a sort of feeling as if I've seen everything but somehow missed an elephant. A note on the Gileads. Anton Pavlovich, do you understand? Are you from here? This island, are you from here?
Are you a political prisoner?
Me?
You! It's the political prisoners who are
What?
always trying to escape.
No, I'm not from here. You can understand.
And what are you?
Well, I'm here to write a census of the island.
Why are you here?
I'm here to write about Sakhalin. I can assure you I'm not lying.
You don't even know where you are. This is not Sakhalin, this is Choco. When the Russians arrived, they blanketed their lies on all of us. The island and all its prisoners shoulder the burden of that lie. They changed our horses to our homes and they took away the key. They gave us the itching, the disease, and we scratched until truth no longer mattered. But some truths have a way of sticking. In the summer, the sea is a wall. In the winter, a bridge, but a bridge to where? A place where your people come from. Place from where hell has been hand-delivered. Here on the island, everything has a tendency to end up in chains. It's just that sort of cursed place.
A den on the Gileads, October 19th. This island is also known as Choco, which means we in Nivik, the language of the Gileads. They live on the northern side of the island along the western and eastern coasts and along the rivers which they say once flowed at the bottom of the sea. According to the military administration, There were 3,270 Gilyaks on the island in 1856, 1,500 in 1870. As of today, there are approximately 320. My paper is running out. Dear sister, departed Sakhalin, first night at sea on the Petersburg Express. Spent the last of my cash on the return ticket. The names of those I enumerated echo in my mind as I wonder about the millions that have yet to be sent here to be discarded, to rot. It happens so casually, without a thought. We drive them through the cold, we infect them, we isolate them and corrupt them. We did this, we do this, and nothing is being done for these people or their children or any of their children's children. Our nation is diseased, and we think we can simply continue to self-amputate it. I don't know the cure, but I may have a treatment. Just outside everyone's front door, there should stand a stranger with a hammer. And with his hammer, that stranger should gently knock on our doors and windows, and with each knock, remind us that there are those of us who aren't so lucky. That no matter who we are, sooner or later, life will reveal its claws and open our doors to misery. Into our homes will enter disease, poverty, death, and no one will hear our cries. In the same way we choose not to hear the cries of others today. But the stranger isn't there. We live on, worried by the trifle of the day. The way the breeze worries the leaves. Your brother, Anton. P.S. Please arrange for tickets to the theater upon my return. I miss it dearly.
Doctor, rough seas. Never seen anything like it. Is your gun nearby?
What?
Your gun. Is it near you?
Yes, it's right here. What do you need the gun for?
It's not for me. If we go down, you'd better use it. Don't let the sharks or the cold of the sea take you first.
Hello? Hey, Barry. No, I think we have you again, Barry.
Yes, Savorian. I can hear
Well, Barry, I want to thank you for joining us. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Every person counts, right? Look, you can have an election at 50% of the turnout, right? And it's still an election,
Well, right.
Right. Now, even though you're left wondering what the heck happened to the other 50%.
Right.
If it's a census and we only counted 50% of the people, well, that's not a census. That's just...
Hey, what was that, Barry? Okay, boy, I think I lost you again. Hey, hello there, Barry.
Savorian?
Hey, Barry.
Hey,
Barry, can you hear me?
can
Barry.
you hear me, Savorian?
Hey, Barry, can you hear me there?
What?
Hello?
No, Savorian,
Hey, Barry. I can't hear you. Can you...
What?
Oh, hey there, everyone. Excuse me, I'm just going to reach in here and grab my headphones. We got through it, so that's great. Thank you all so much. Oh, there's gaff tape holding them in. So, thank you all. I really appreciate it. Again, this is Theater in Quarantine. If you're new to us and you haven't seen us before, please subscribe to the channel. We do work every other week, alternating short form and longer form. This is what we call long form. Long form, of course, being relative to our depleted attention spans these days. So we like to say 35 minutes is long. So we have got shows in 2 weeks, literally the night before the election. So come check it out. We'll have our Closet Works with guest choreographer Sunny Hitt and Veronica Yao. And then we are going to be back after that with a brand new piece, totally brand new, by Madeline George, created also by, of course, Raja Feather Kelly and Katie Rose McLaughlin. Our creative director here. So I'm going to attempt to get everyone on Zoom, and we're going to see if we can effectively have a little talk back for you and answer any questions you might have. I have questions, that's for sure. And it'd be nice to, of course, see Eric, who is still in Gowanus. We've been chatting, but we haven't seen each other this whole time. Hold on, everybody, 1 second. All right, I think I can bring them in right now. Let me double check that all my settings are correct. There we go. And hi, everyone. I believe you're live. Katie
Josh.
Rose.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
Yes, it's working. Okay, great. I'm going to go into performance mode so it doesn't get so jumpy. And there we are. We're all good. So I think probably it's safest probably to just introduce ourselves since there's so many of us. So why don't we just first go around and say who we are and what we did on the piece. All right? I'll start. I'm Joshua William Gelb. I have a closet and I was in this thing. So thanks. Ada, would you go next?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Ada Zhang. I'm the stage manager for Theater in Quarantine and also the SM on this show. Thank you. And shall we go to KR?
Hi, everybody. I'm Katie Rose McLaughlin. I'm co-creative director of Theater in Quarantine with Josh. I made some choreography for this beautiful, beautiful show. Lydia, do you want to go next?
You're muted.
Oh, Lydia, you're muted.
You're still muted.
Still muted.
You're still muted.
Zoomy, zoomy, zoom.
Oh, I was on mute the whole time. I'm Lydia. I was a stenographer, did the design stuff, and I've worked with Alex and Misha many, many times. And this is my first time working with Theater in Quarantine, and it was a blast. How about Misha?
I'm Misha. I did the sound and some of the composition for this. And as Lydia mentioned, I know Alex and Lydia from the Pigpen days, but this is my first maiden voyage, stormy voyage with Theater in Quarantine. Alex.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alex. I worked with Lydia and Misha before, and I went to school with Eric Berryman and Josh and Katie Rose. And I did some of the translations on this piece. And I'm going to toss this to Eric.
Yeah, I'm Eric Berryman, and I played Chekhov, aka Black Chekhov, aka Sexy Chekhov. Those are inside rehearsal terms, so okay. Justin.
Hey everybody, I'm Justin. I'm the co-artistic director of Theater Mitu. I'm running the Expansion Works program this year and doing a little bit of everything on this project, from producing to building boxes to helping with video and production coordination all together. So happy to be here on the stormy voyage, as it were.
Woo! Well, of course, as I said, we're happy to answer any questions you might have want to throw in the comment section. Just put them in there. We'll answer them. In the meantime, we'll chat and kind of, do a nice, a little discussion on what just happened and what went into this week. As you said, it's a stormy voyage, and we took a huge risk this week. We were thrilled to have Theater Mitu as a partner, and they invited us to be a little ambitious. And we said, well, let's build a second closet. And
definitely took me up on it.
Yeah, totally. And brought in a second performer and a second closet, which is something we've been dreaming about, and something we assumed would be, possible. And of course, I think in the past 2 weeks we found out the reasons why it's so difficult to do this kind of work. So if anyone wants to jump in there.
Misha? I invite you to share a little bit of the process. I mean, even if you just want to share like what today was, sort of the challenges of working with two closets, two systems, which is something that we've never done before. So we were all doing this for the first time, but I felt like it the biggest challenge proved to be sound, because we're trying to do this live conversational thing over the internet, which is damn near impossible. But
yeah, as I guess many of us at this point have experienced trying to do meetings on Zoom, it is very difficult to have like a real conversation. And it's even harder when you're trying to move and play sound cues and that sort of thing. I mean, without getting to boring details, I think it is simply a function that it's all about time, right? And our biggest challenge has been to line our two performers up. This begins to sound like a math problem, like two trains starting from point A to point B. But to have our two performers be in sync with each other, but then also be in sync with their video, which that proved to be much harder. So apparently video is a much slower train than the sound train. And so video train is always slow behind the sound train. And so we'd have to figure out how to slow down the sound train, but then that would create other problems. I mean, I've learned a lot. Theater in Quarantine works very fast and very. I think part of it is the sort of the pressure and the excitement of it. But everything takes twice as long. Again, it's all math. It takes twice as long on Zoom, and so we're essentially just constantly trying to triangulate our sound and video. The performers are actually 30 seconds ahead of us, but we're actually trying to adjust sound on our end. So, but major props is what the performers have to deal with, because they're actually getting a lot of prompts in their video, in their in-ear monitors. And I mean, I think it's safe to acknowledge that we've ran into some gremlins. And so I can say for about a third of the show, it sounded like a madhouse in their ears. I could actually listen to what they were hearing. And it was just, we had way too many cues happening simultaneously. And they were somehow, again, trying to find their cues to continue the story forward, which watching it with the audience, I felt actually was pretty seamless. So I gotta say, it was really impressive work. I think I've talked too much.
Not at all.
It's also worth noting. I think in one sense, the act of streaming the performance is the easiest feat that we have to accomplish in the process of building the piece, because we need to be able to be in conversation and in rehearsal. And normally you sit in a room and you watch it in front of you. And if you're sitting behind a light board or a sound console or something, you can manipulate it from there. You can turn and talk to each other. But in this sense, we have no way to monitor the performance in the moment it's being performed. So the YouTube experience is, 20 to 30, sometimes even, 40 seconds behind. And so not only do we have to get the performers in sync, but we need some way to then watch the performance in some semblance of real time. And then on top of all of that, the computers that run this show are in Josh Gelb's home. So Misha and I are remoting into Josh's computer as well as into a computer here in Gowanus, and programming remotely over those machines. So it's kind of like I was saying to somebody the other day, it's like being in tech for a show with one keyboard that everyone has to program on.
Or a show that is in the future, and yeah. So absolutely.
And I think that not having the funds of like a multi-million-dollar, say, news corporation, I think we've achieved it and got closer than like MSNBC and CNN does every day. Because I watch every day and somebody's always like, sorry, there's a bit of a delay. Sorry, wait. No, you go. Okay. No, I'll just, okay, I think we lost them. I think we lost a senator. So if they have trouble, I feel like we, with the resources we got, maybe we can get together with them, we can teach each other something, but I think we're a little bit ahead. So, but no, really, from coming from the outside, I'd only maybe, saw a couple of theater in quarantine pieces. And at first, like when a piece first begins, I go, oh, okay, this seems pretty simple enough. Like somebody's got a camera and he's like in a space, and then stuff starts happening in Josh's pieces. And you go, how the hell is he doing that? You go, how is he doubling this? And how is he flipping this? And you go, man, this is wild. And then they said, okay, we want to do that, but now we got to figure out how to do that with somebody else miles away together. And I said, okay, well, if that's what y'all want to do, I want to be a part of trying to figure out how to do that,
And we're so glad you did, Eric. We're so glad. I want to pivot to some audience questions because we're getting them. And this one's from Catherine Brooke, who is a dear friend of many of us, who asks a serious question. And I'm going to pivot this one to Mr. Alex Falberg. Can you talk about the dramaturgy around the census, voting, disease, etc.?
First of all, hey, Katie Brooke, big fan, both of us, big fans of Katie Brooke. The dramaturgy of this process was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to dive into the history. And I think one of the most fascinating parts of the process was just discovering how eerie the history can rhyme with the present day. In fact, there are passages in his letters, in Chekhov's letters, where it sounds like he's just talking about today in America. There's a lot of material. There's a lot of material out there. I encourage anybody to, if they can, to pick up a biography, to pick up the original source material of the island of Sakhalin. And if you have your chance to look at the letters, there's so much material out there. In fact, I think enough material to do a whole series on his journey, on why he went there, on what the state of Russia was at the time. Russia was on the brink of a revolution, and it was very difficult to determine where that revolution was going. And amidst all of that, there were many viruses and diseases that people didn't actually know or understand how to deal with. Anton Chekhov's brother, Nikolai, unfortunately died of tuberculosis. And that may have been the moment, that along with some epic literary failures and theatrical failures in his life, amongst other moments and that inspired him to take this journey to the island. What I think is particularly fascinating is that after this trip to the island, he writes all of the plays that we know him for. He finishes, he writes The Seagull and The Cherry Orchard, and he is obviously also very famous for a lot of short stories before then. So anyways, there's a lot of stuff there, which I encourage people to dive into.
I mean, yeah.
And
there's
also,
something...
Alex, oh, sorry.
No, jump in, Kara.
Also, Alex, you have a personal connection to the census specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, both of us do. Yeah, both Eric and I were officially enumerators for the United States Census of 2020.
Yeah, I actually did knock on a single door, but I had the knapsack, I had the phone, the device, everything. Long story short, my schedule got ahead of me. Blessings, I'm humbled that, life kind of fast tracked, and I just had no time to complete the training. So I did about 8 hours of training online, completed that. I was sworn in, so I'm sworn in for the rest of my life.
Yeah, we both took an oath.
We took an oath
for about 72 years, so we can't really answer any more questions about that.
Well, I have one more question about that for the both of you. So Chekhov, we have innumerable reasons that Chekhov gives for going on this trip, none of which are particularly convincing. So I guess the question I have is, why did the two of you decide you wanted to take part in the census?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Well, kind of like Barry Erickson in the story, I, for one, was looking for something to do when I'm not doing theater. And so I actually applied to do it in April, and they only got back to me at the end of the summer to see if I wanted to participate. And it was a wonderful intersection of civic responsibility and something I could do for my city and my country. And it was a really extraordinary moment to see New York City recovering from the past 7 months, and to get to, I knocked on 1,224 doors. I successfully interviewed 510 interviews. And through it all, I encountered, I had many different kinds of encounters, but more than anything, I encountered people that were resilient, resourceful, and hopeful for what lies ahead. And that was a wonderful surprise.
Well, we got two questions here, and I think they actually kind of speak to one another. Curtis asks, have you found any happy accidents in technology, sound, projection? And Jonathan asks, how do you envision and map out staging, blocking, and choreography on a two-dimensional and almost entirely imaginary space? And I kind of feel like maybe one question answers the other. Lydia.
I'm making sure to unmute. Yeah, no, they totally answer each other. This was a really interesting process to try to figure out what it looks like, because it's really easy to come up with a beautiful looking static image. But then when we have this type of setup where there's two closets and they need to sometimes be next to each other or over top or tiny, how we get between those various trajectories and various tableaus becomes this huge other kind of, has its own life to it, really. All the transitions become so integral in the storytelling. And so a lot of what we ended up doing was kind of building little story blocks that were like, okay, we'll have some shadow stuff that we can play with, and these frames, and this idea of transparencies, and this idea of like daguerreotypes and old paper and crumpled things, and kind of started throwing things together. And then so much of it comes out of like something going wrong in the camera and then being like, oh wow, that looks so cool. And also I think something that was interesting was like Eric shared an image of something that was an aerial view, and he was talking about how it was it was Aboriginal, Eric. And so we were really inspired by this image, and we were talking about the Gilead scene and about this kind of how much we love this aerial view. And then we realized that if they just sat in a certain way, we could recreate this idea, this feeling of an aerial view. So stuff like that, where it was kind of a lot of move your body a little bit, let's flip it, switch it, and maybe overlay some stuff. And then you start to just kind of find the story and find the world within that.
Which is to say that we rehearse with full tech every day. And so that's kind of how the entire process works. We're able to do all of this in some sort of haphazard way in any given rehearsal. Of course, the trickiest thing, as Misha was talking about, is the audio, which isn't there yet and is still something we're figuring out. But video-wise, yeah, it's actually, I was saying to Katie Rose, we probably should have done a two-person show where one person didn't talk, and that would have been seamless. Let's see. So, going through the comments. But anyway, I guess, does anyone else want to reflect on, have any happy accidents in the work, or how we envision staging, blocking, choreography on a two-dimensional space?
I think. Oh yeah, you go Justin.
I was
I'll
just
go
going to
after.
say, I think what's interesting to me is that in some ways it is two-dimensional. We're experiencing it through a screen, but you still do have access to your X, Y, and Z axis. So we're able to make the boxes appear further away by making them smaller, and appear closer to you by making them larger. So there is the same kind of composition that goes into physical staging in three-dimensional space, but there's just a lot more math involved in terms of animating and composing those images, and then the layering of, what pieces are we going to animate in order to, the advantage of working in this scenario is we're not on a physical stage. So we can actually take the entire physical stage, move it, and present you with a new physical stage. And I think there are some great advantages, in this moment as we negotiate kind of virtual, the boons, the pros and cons of virtual engagements. I think there is a lot of room for, sort of building this theater that isn't limited by physical space, but rather just by time.
And I would also just add to that we don't, in rehearsal specifically, that, or at least I don't, I imagine everything in 3 dimensions as I'm rehearsing. I rehearse the same way I would if I was with people in a room. We just have to use our words a lot more, because I can't get up and show Eric a dance move that I want him to do. I have to use my words to describe it. And so what ends up coming out is a true collaboration between his imagination and my imagination. And I think that is a reason why also that it feels so lush and has so much dimensionality to it also, is that we're not thinking about it in a flat, this shape and this shape and this shape, but we're treating everything as a 3-dimensional object.
I guess I wanted to add on the subject of happy accident, so to speak. I think the whole census connection was a bit of an accident. Somehow we sort of just in earlier drafts, while talking about the census, did not necessarily connect us to the current census. And then it was discovered that both of you are census workers, and suddenly this version of a census worker emerged. And I thought that was just such a beautiful sort of potent thing. And then the other thing, Alex, you mentioned something in rehearsal just earlier today, how beautifully ironic it is that the reoccurring theme of the recurring piece in this piece is two people having difficulty hearing each other, and that has been sort of the theme for our 2 weeks, and but also for life right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that going on, so I just thought it was life imitates art and vice versa. So.
Whew. Well, Sonia says, Notes from an Enumerator is a great title. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you.
I have
There's
another
also been a
call
lot of love
out.
here. What? Yeah.
I think Alex should share a little bit about the music that we heard.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes.
Because that's
yes,
also
yes,
a super
yes.
cool layer that transcends.
The sound and the music for this piece, obviously, as Misha described, it's been an incredible roller coaster this week trying to assemble everything together. And Misha has some compositions of his own that I think he should talk about as well that I think have been incorporated. Aside from Misha's compositions, there's also some compositions, some of the more symphonic and orchestral stuff that is my great-grandfather's music.
From where?
From the former Soviet Union. It was at the time, and he recorded. He wrote a lot of that stuff in the 50s, 60s, and I think he recorded it sometime in the late 60s, early 70s. And that music has somehow miraculously survived, and we got to use it in this piece. In fact, there is another prop here. So the music was wonderful from my great-grandfather, but my grandfather gave us this pipe, which Eric has brought to life as I think the greatest Chekhov anybody could ever imagine. Misha, do you want to talk about the other kind of additional compositions that you?
No, I mean, actually, in full transparency, it was my intention to try to make all of the sonic content be somehow derived from the pieces of your great grandfather, like sample them, dissect them, so do and unfortunately just honestly ran out of time dealing with a lot of, so I had to sort of plug in some things that existed before, or it would just something that would be easier, so as more connective tissue. So if and when we do this, we take this voyage again, I want to go back and sort of continue that work of extracting more beauty from those concertos. So.
And speaking of great grandparents, I did want to say real quick that first I applied to be a census worker because a former roommate was like, hey man, I think they paying $28 an hour. And this was kind of like in like March, April, where the world just shut down. So I was like, that sound good. If I can get that, I got to buy some shirts or something. Anyway, no, so I applied, but when I thought about it, I said, oh, okay, this is interesting. And then it hit me that I must try to do this because some years ago, I was on ancestry.com, and at first I was a little skeptical on ancestry.com because Black Americans just tend not to be as well documented as other people, unless we're in bondage. There's a lot of prison records you can find, so there's something to talk about that for another show. But I was able to actually find a good amount of stuff of members of my family. One thing that really, really affected me and really led me into wanting to become a census worker was I found I believe it was the 1920 census. And it had my great grandmother listed when she was a child. And she was one of the people that raised me. And she lived to about 96, 97 and until the year 2012. And I remember when I saw her name and her age on there, well under 10, I became so emotional looking at this handwritten document. And I said I wanted to be a part of this in some way. I said I would love to knock on a door and take down the name of a child that could be the next president. It's like, and what's the little girl's name? Oh, Michaela, whatever her name, and then she goes on to do something wonderful. And then 7 years later, I'm like, I enumerated her, no, but really, yeah, that was my initial idea to try to get involved with it, and it didn't work out for me to be able to knock one, like I said before, but I'm happy that I got close.
I mean, Eric, I would love to hear a little bit about your experience jumping into this space and what it's like for you. I mean, today was a whirlwind, we know that, but what's it like for you to perform in this kind of situation and context? And you can be real.
Oh, no, for me, it's just like, I'm pretty adaptable and I think I can take a lot on my plate. I just need to have some type of semblance of order or something. So I said, I don't mind having a lot of stuff in my ear. I would just love for it not to inhibit me from doing X, Y, and Z. So, and Misha was really good about that. I mean, I had I used to today and yesterday I kept having an echo of myself, which was just really distracting me. And it was the one thing that I was like, it's really hard to move, forward with that. I said, but if we can't fix it, just let me know, because now I got to get my mind right to just go on a whole different level of focus. I said, I can do it. I wouldn't like to, but if, and it was amazing. He fixed it. But ultimately, I just always try to approach performance and being a performer and an actor just very open. I try not to have any genres or labels or this is the type of stuff I do, or this is the type of stuff I don't do, because I believe the performer should be open to doing everything. I think the performer should be ready to do something with ring lights, all this technology, a little closet. I think he should be ready to do a kitchen sink play. I think he should be ready to do a TV series. I think they should be ready to do an animated movie. I think they should be ready to do a children's book or whatever. I think the performer should be so open so as not to limit what they can do and what they can offer. Because if you want to be a storyteller, well, stories are told in a variety of ways. So you have to be open and hopefully create your instrument that you can play anything. A musician, just because a musician that plays what is so-called jazz, just because a musician plays that does not mean he can't play anything else. So he can use that instrument it's only 12 notes, I believe. 12 notes? 12 notes. It's 12 notes. I'm not counting octaves, and he, Miles has the same 12 notes that Beethoven has the same 12 notes that Stravinsky has, you know what I mean? And they can play it all if they needed or wanted to. And I believe that the performer has to have that same sensibility. So for me, this was just another avenue to try to hopefully tell a story and be up for it. And it was extremely enjoyable to me. Very. I hope we can do this again, truly.
Eric, I feel like Eric's really touching on kind of what initially started this conversation between Josh and I, and then kind of Theater in Quarantine and Theater Mitu, which is, we created this expansion works program specifically to address that, right? We're all playing with the same 12 notes. So how do we kind of expand the languages we can speak and how we speak them? And I think one of the great things about Theater in Quarantine, and I think all of us here on this call and the many others who have participated in different projects can speak to, is that it really forces you to kind of question your primary and principal discipline and look at it in a very different way and bear a larger burden for executing this kind of full artistic project. You can't quite silo yourself into one discipline and say, I'm just doing this one piece. And I quite like that. It really forces us all to work in a different way. And I hesitate to use the word opportunity ever in relationship to the larger kind of moment that we're dealing with, but it does present this unique time where we can kind of question how we approach making art and how we create new ways of coming together as a community, and whether that's through making stuff together or sharing stuff. I think it's really a kind of great thing. So 12 notes, that's what I'm taking away, Eric. That's good.
Very nice.
Absolutely echo that it is my hope that when we get past the after times, as we keep referring to them, that this sort of work continues happening, right? Like this becomes part of repertoire of theater companies that can fit into a closet and beyond. I think it is my hope also that to keep using the musical analogy, right? It is 12 notes, but to put it bluntly, currently being played on a child's recorder. Like we are stretching, and I don't mean meant to be, but like we are stretching and breaking technology and research time to be used like that. Yeah. So half the issues that we're dealing with is because it is fighting back, or is just can't handle the ambition, so to speak. And so it is my hope that this seeing this sort of and engaging with this sort of content inspires new technology, new type of support, because ultimately I think there's a lot of potential in it. And so we're trying to show beautiful melodies, and hoping to build bigger and beautiful instruments and orchestras, and then turn into a symphony. So
Wow, we really took that metaphor places. I have to answer a question. What happened to the bear? Okay, actually, the bear was in there. You may not have noticed. That's for the rewatchers out there. You should be able to find the bear. But no, the whole bear suit did not make it in. You're probably referring to our behind-the-scenes footage, which is out there. I'll post it on YouTube probably this week as well. And it is some really incredible footage of the past 2 weeks or so. And yeah, we had a more featured moment with the bear that did get cut. Yes, sadly. And is the second closet in Eric's house? No, where is the second closet?
The second closet is in an art studio here in Gowanus, about 2 blocks from Mitu 580.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
So Theater Mitu
Yes.
operates a space called Mitu 580. This is such a good angle, Eric.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
We operate a space called Mitu 580, which is here in Gowanus, Brooklyn, and actually have another streaming project that's happening here at the theater. So check out our Instagram. You can kind of see what else is happening here. But we wanted to house the closet close to someone in person. And since I'm here at the theater day and night, 540 President was very close to us. And so it's about 2 blocks from here. And yeah, both Eric and Alex were very patient with rebuilding this closet in an art studio, which is in a much larger shared space. So we had some very interesting conversations with some of the artists. If they're watching for some reason, thank you for your patience. They were very kind in kind of going on this experiment with us and letting us share space with them.
Well, thank you again, Justin, and thank you, Theater Mitu, for your support in this. I mean, we're barreling through the fall with some of our most ambitious programming. Of course, as I mentioned, we have Closet Works coming up in 2 weeks, and then a new piece with Katie Rose and Madeline George and Raja Feather Kelly, and then another Closet Works 2 weeks after that. And then 2 weeks after that, we are back with the second portion of our Expansion Works partnership with Theater Mitu, which is a new musical by Heather Christian. God forbid, how are we going to do it? We don't know.
It's going to be so good. We're going to figure it out like we always do.
It's going to be amazing. So that's coming up, and we hope you check that out. I did want to just open this up to the team here and just say final thoughts or final complaints, anything. Let's go around. Ada, start us off. Ada, this was your first full length with the company. Yeah.
That is correct. And I was I learned a lot from this process. I think I worked with KR and Josh a little bit longer, like with other projects other than just this piece. So, but this one is just very different than, like the closet works that we've done before. And I definitely learned a lot in this process, being as a stage manager, taking blockings and scheduling rehearsals, and also, throughout this process, especially these 2 days, I would say, the rehearsal, I'm consistently thinking about, like maybe next time when we do this kind of a longer piece and which involves more people, how, like from a stage manager's perspective, I can help more to, get everyone happier,
You make us sound miserable.
But, like, I would say, this is also the first time that we all do this together. So no one can ever anticipate what will happen. As, you see, like the beginning was fine. And these 2 days are a little bit tight. And that is all, the things that we've learned from the actual practice. Then the next time when we do this, we can, think more ahead and, just kind of improve the system. Then we can do it better and better. but I really enjoyed working with everyone here and being in this highly creative and collaborative process. Everyone, like everyone can express their voice in the room. It's like highly tolerant, and it's just very, very very, very satisfying, and I really enjoyed working with everyone. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ada.
Well, there's one more question from Ali, which I don't know if I'm trying to understand it. It asks, do you believe this awesome close format could work for someone writing a play for the traditional stage? Or must the writer imagine this stage foremost? Alex, can you parse that, or Eric?
Yeah, do you have something? Is your instinct?
Well, I don't think you wrote it for a closet format. I mean, you have stuff in the stage directions where it's like, I'm not about to walk around some settlement smoking a pipe. Right. So it's kind of like walking, like trying to walk continuously in this small space just looked weird and stuff. Mm-hmm. I feel like you kind of like wrote this thing and then we just figured out how to tell it in this space. But what I do think is that online mediums, I think, are fantastic for letting ideas and people create. And I think that there are many things that could be, the development doesn't have to just be in a person with a bunch of people at a traditional theater, that I think that this could be a part of the development too. My final thought is that I have a great hope that this is not the last time that Notes from an Enumerator occurs. And even when Alex, called me and wanted to get me involved originally, I said, man, I'm seeing this as something long-term. Like this could be something eventually on its feet. And and so I think this is the perfect opportunity to flesh some ideas out, figure out things that, in this short time we maybe had to cut, but maybe it's something that could come into another long form thing. So I think that the beauty of this online stuff is that potentially it's a little cheaper. Yeah. Also people are in different places, Katie Rose, you in Minnesota, so it's not stopping us from doing that. But say if and when we're all ready to get back and have the funding and everything to come back in one location, well, we're already steps ahead. So I would encourage other people to use the online format as the continuation of the developmental of the in-works progress to workshop it in another atmosphere, and take your idea and say, well, what is it like in this format and what is it like there? The same way somebody says, well, I'm going to write this book and then I'm going to make the movie based on the book. Then I'm going to make the cartoon based on the movie of the book. Then I'm going to, you know what I mean? So I feel like this can kind of live in that same continuum where it's like, well, we did the Theater in Quarantine online closet version. Now I want to see what it is. And, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and I think, this piece, for our first two-person show, it's so it is truly ambitious because, and I've said to Alex, like, the joy and the terror of the past couple weeks working on this one is realizing that so much of the work we've done has been isolated in terms of the work, in terms of the dramaturgy of the plays that we've been making, right? It's set in a bunker. It's set in a spaceship. Sure, maybe we're doing crazy stuff with video, but there's a free form freedom of theater making, of play, of, the empty space, frankly, that is inherent to this piece that really opens up possibility in a slightly frightening way, in a way that I'm used to on stage, but in a way that is a little daunting here in this closet. And so it's been really wonderful working through that. But it's clearly more ambitious, clearly more devised, more ensemble driven than anything we've ever done before here. And that's been really wonderful. So to say, do you have to write, could the closet format work traditionally? Could traditional work here? Yeah, it all works. I mean, maybe we should have done a kitchen sink drama and dragged a sink in for our first two-person show. We could have done Night Mother, Eric. That would have been, maybe easier.
Next season.
Please.
Oh, gosh.
Coriolanus in the closet.
Yeah. But anyway, I do want to go around and just do words of wisdom or final promotions or favorite memories from everyone. So Justin.
Make sure to check out. Oh God, this came so fast.
It's 10:30.
So this is part one of expansion works. Like Josh said, there's another collaboration with Theater in Quarantine that's happening in December. Theater Mitu also has a bunch of other programming happening. We have our Hybrid Arts Lab, which is for trans, non-binary, and femme-identified artists working at the intersection of performance and technology. They're going to be sharing some of their in-progress stuff in December. Theater Mitu has interactive digital experience that we've created for New York Theater Workshop season that's happening in November. And we're running around doing lots of other things. We have an Artist at Home program, which provides basically resources to artists who are looking to make work in this moment. So we have a big giant project that's happening to my left, you can't see, in our big 2,400 square foot space here. Called Circle Jerk. Check that out. That's also on our Instagram. Yeah, come see what we're making. There's lots more stuff to come. So thanks. This was very exciting.
Ada?
It happens so fast. Yeah. Just want to say that definitely subscribe our channel, Theater in Quarantine, because we're definitely making a lot of cool pieces. As Josh said in our pre-show speech, it's not Zoom theater, it's not dance film, it's really live theater. Everything you've seen is performed by the people who host, who's hosting this talkback, and it's really cool. And we have so many talented artists here, and we are consistently creating new stuff no matter what happens. So definitely follow us on all social media, subscribe our YouTube channel, and we won't let you down.
Great. Misha?
I don't have necessarily much to promote, but just thanks to everyone's and their patience. I do sincerely hope we get sort of touch this again somehow. And I do know that when things get incredibly sort of like, what's the word? Insane, whatever. I get into that sort of like dark Russian mode, and I get very sort of tense and grumpy, and I appreciate everyone's sort of patience with all of this, and hoping that we can, like, this was a stormy voyage, we can, make it at one point we can make it a delightful little like yacht trip sometime.
Just don't say cruise ship, because that's got weird connotations now. Lydia?
Yeah, I just think it feels crazy that it's like done. It's so fast. It all happens so fast, and it's like I feel like we scratched the surface. And I love how collaborative it's been. And I work best just like throwing something together and then throwing it up and seeing if it works. And I feel like that is so how this process has been, and it's just been a blast. So I look forward to seeing how you guys make stuff coming up, and then hopefully revisiting this some way in some form in the future.
Eric?
What am I saying? What are we saying?
Just the last words of wisdom.
Last thoughts.
I said this on something a few weeks ago, and I was happy that it came out of wherever it came out of the ether of my butt or something. But whoever's still listening out there, whoever's still out there.
There's 33 people.
Oh, get out. All right, 33. No, but really, I hope that artistically, I hope that the artist, that this time of the last 7-8 months of the world, of what's been going on health-wise, what's been going on economically, what's been going on racially, I hope that it is a time that it reinvigorates the artist to reestablish and reconnect with what is important and what place we have in society and art. You know, that I think there were a lot of things that we were trying to touch on with certain parts of the text, certain little connection things that the connection. I mean, I remember that day you came in with that text and I said, he says quarantine in this letter. I said, come on, man, the nation is diseased. I said, the hammer thing, I said, we need a hammer man in America, man. We need a hammer man in a lot of red states. No, but really, that hopefully that this time will refocus the artists to create work that is meaningful. And I don't say that to say that the work has to be, it has to be heavy or dark, that it can be light, it can be, it can be fun, it can be comedic, but that there is a purpose behind it. That I hope that artists get away from, we've gotten away from making things purposefully. And we got to get away from that. People will pay for it. People will buy it. We think that we got to do stuff that's fluff and whatever to get the money. No, people want it. They want it. They want stuff that's purposeful, and they will pay it. And even if the people that typically wouldn't pay for it, then there's going to be a whole new audience that you're going to want that's going to pay for it. Leave those other people behind. They got to catch up. So anybody that's out there, just, let's just keep making stuff with purpose, man.
Alex.
Oh, gosh. I echo everything Eric just said. And I want to say thank you to each of the collaborators, part of this project. It's been extraordinary. And just want to emphasize the importance of teams, the importance of collaboration, and how a collaboration can yield a really a beautiful thing that no one person can truly fully imagine, and that the spirit of that is important to me, and I think important to a lot of people. So trust the team that you have, and if you don't have a team, just find one. Just make one. Make your own. I'm really lucky that I've gotten to work with Pigpen Theater Company for many years, and I think from there learned the value of union and the importance of union in creating something that's greater than ourselves. So that's my Russian sentimental send-off.
Katie Rose.
Thank you, each and every one of you beautiful, beautiful humans, for joining us on the wonderful Theater in Quarantine experience, which is putting together a show in 2 weeks, which is insane. But thank goodness for collaboration, like Alex was saying. Every single person here stepped up and went above and beyond in every single way. And it was just like an honor and a pleasure. It was so exciting. Like our YouTube channel, please, if you can. Most importantly, if you haven't voted yet, please do so. Make sure that you double check what's on your ballot before you go. You can go to ballotready.org, and it says all the props, all the measures, everything that's going to be on your ballot. Just double check all that before you go. Check in with your friends and family, see what their voting plan is. If you can, help them out. If you need me to help in any sort of way, like, get in contact. I will encourage anyone to go out and vote. Just please, please, please do so. It's really, really, I mean, we don't need to say this, but it's incredibly important now more so than ever. Get out, let your voice be heard. Josh, you want to send this out?
Sure. I think, so yes, if you were with us tonight, you probably heard that we did cancel the 7 p.m. show. We had a lot of tech to get through, and, it snuck up on us, and, we got, I'd say it wasn't perfect, but we got a pretty wonderful show up, which I'm really proud, and I want to say thank you all. I want to say thank you to Theater Mitu, and I want to say if there's one melancholy note I'll leave it on, is that I don't get to do it a second time. And that's the thing I'll leave feeling just a little bit sad about, because I don't want to leave it just yet. But thanks again, and thank you all for watching and joining us tonight. You can you can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can join our Facebook group page, whatever we have. We have an Instagram, Theater in Quarantine. You can donate to us, and all the proceeds are divided amongst the collaborators. That's at our Fractured Atlas link below. And again, we've got some incredible shows coming your way in the next couple of weeks. So please join us again in 2. I am Joshua William Gelb, still in the closet. Eric's in another closet. We're all in the closet. So thanks again. Hope you have a great Monday night. Hope you have a great rest of the week. All my best to all of you. Stay strong, stay well, stay safe, vote. Have a good night.
До свидания!
До свидания.